Good morning, team. Good afternoon, team. I wanted to talk today about describing patterns as part of our unit. So this is our Unit 1, Lesson 1. We did Unit 2 first, so don't feel like we're 8 weeks into school and still doing Unit 1. But this is something I wanted to talk about. So we have describing patterns. So we have 4 different ways we can describe a pattern. We're going to describe it increasing at a constant rate, decreasing at a constant rate, increases slow and then fast, decreases fast and then slow. So for the first way, we're just going to draw a little picture. So increases at a constant rate just means that the graph is going up. It's making a line that's going from the bottom to the top. So it could look like that. It could look like more shallow than that. Or it could be very, 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 very steep. Okay? But it increases constantly. Our next graph is going to be a graph that decreases at a constant rate, meaning it's a line that's pointing down. Okay? So like I said, for the other graph, it can actually be any line that's just kind of going down. It could be a very flat line like this. Okay, I know that's hard to see. Let's make that a little darker. Okay, or it could be very, very steep, like say this one. It's almost vertical. Then we have a line. I want to think of your roller coaster, right? You're starting on a roller coaster, you might start kind of going slow, and then as a graph gets steeper and steeper and steeper. Okay, and then once you're at the top of the roller coaster, you drop fast, and then it levels off to flat. Okay, otherwise you just run into the ground. That would be not good. So that's one way we can describe patterns when we're looking at a graph. The next way we can describe a pattern is when we look at a table of values. So we want to look at the overall pattern of our table of values. So here's our first table right in here. So for our first table, we notice that as x is increasing, the y is also increasing. So we can say that this overall pattern, overall pattern is increasing. And how is it increasing? Is it increasing at a constant rate or not at a constant rate? So we have to look at our ratio of our y over our x, all right, to see if it's kind of constant. So our first jump goes from 0 to 1, and our second jump goes from -5 to +1. Which is a jump by 4. So our first ratio is 4 over 1. Let's look at our second ratio. We go from 1 to 3, that's a jump up of 2, and from -1 to 7, that's a jump up of 8. Okay? 8 over 2. Is 8 over 2 equivalent to 4 over 1? Yes, it is. So far, we're in a linear constant pattern. Then we go from 3 to 8, which is a jump up of 5. And 7 to 27, which is a jump up of 20, an increase. So that's 20 divided by 5, which is 4. They're all the same, so we can say that this is increasing at a constant rate. And if you want to put a 4 in there, you can, but for now, we're not really focusing on that, like in a major way, so you can, but we can just kind of make it a ghost, okay? Our next pattern we look at is right here, and we'll notice that as our x is increasing, our y goes from 12 to 9 to 0 to -6. It goes down. It's decreasing. So our pattern goes up by 1 and then down by 3. So overall, instead of this being increasing, we have a decreasing pattern. And let's check out our values. So -3 over 1. That's our first ratio. Let's look at our second ratio. This is going up by 3, and 9 to 0 is a decrease of 9. So we say -9 over +3. -9 over +3 is the same as -3. So far, these are the same. They check out. You could reduce this fraction to get this one. Let's look at our last tab. So we go up by 2, and then down by 6. Okay? So we have -6 over +2, right? Which is also -3. So all of our ratios are the same. So we could say that this is a decreasing at a constant rate of -3. And the rate's not important. I'm putting the rate on there, but I'm going to like ghost it out, okay, because it's Halloween time. Decreasing at a constant rate, that's enough. All right, let's look at our next pattern. So here we go. Here's our next pattern. We notice we go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 5 on the x. So the x is increasing. And then our y values are also increasing. We go to 1 to 5, 5 to 25, and 25 to 100. Okay? So we know that this pattern is going to be an increasing pattern, but we just want to know how it's increasing. So increasing, so we'd have increasing. So first it goes up and it increases by 1, and this increases by 4. So our first ratio might be 4 over 1. Let's look at our next ratio. 5 to 25. That's an increase of 20. And this is still an increase of 1. So we have 20 divided by 1. Oh, so we're going from 4 to 20, right? Because 4 over 1 is 4 to 20. And then what's our next ratio? So we're going up. We're not the same. It's not constant. So it's increasing from 4 to 20. 25 to 100 would be an increase of 100. And 2 to 5 would be an increase of 3. Okay? So we'd have 100 divided by 3, which is about equal to $33. 33. I always think of money. Okay? 33. So we're kind of increasing. We're going at a rate of 4, then 20, then 33. So we'd say it's increasing slow and then fast. Increasing slow and then fast. So that would be an example of that type of pattern. And then our last pattern we have here. Again, we have negative values in our x's, but that's okay because they go in increasing order. They go from lowest to highest. So this is increasing, but our y's are going decreasing. Go 18, then 6, then 2, then 0.7. So our first value, we go from 18 to 6. So we go down 12. Okay, do you guys see that? And this is going up by 1. So our pattern is actually negative 12 over 1, which is 12. Okay? Then our next pattern, decrease 6 to 2. That's a decrease of 4, while this is increasing by 1. So negative 4 over 1, which is negative 4. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look what I forgot. That's so silly. So silly. Ah, shucky ducky. I forgot my negative symbol right there. That's negative 12. And negative 4, because it's decreasing, it's negative. All right? And then our last value, we go from 2 to 7. So that's a decrease of negative 1.3. And this is an increase of 1. So it would be negative 1.3 over 1, which is negative 1.3. So we notice that our pattern goes from negative 12 to negative 4 to negative 1.3. So we're decreasing, the pattern's going down, all right, and the rate is going fast and then slow. So you want to think negative 12 and then negative 4 and then barely moving at all, negative 3. So we describe this pattern as being decreasing, fast, and then slow. If I could spell slow correctly. All right, so we looked at, let me just bump this over here, ways to describe patterns when you look at a graph or look at a table of values.